everyone. Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me in the studio today, so excited. It is the chief of EMS or director. I don't know what is actually it is chief. I saw the thing earlier. It's Patrick Anderson, Fitzrona EMS. How's it going, sir?
I'm good. How are you today?
Is that was that efficient enough?
That was good.
For
I
being in
was,
here and
yes. Usually I get to delegate this, but I came up myself today.
yeah, Jeff and I are on not talking terms right now, even though I talked to him yesterday. But yeah, we're glad to have you in here. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a busy week going on here with Epic and everything else that's been happening
It sure
around
has
there.
been. Missed some rain last night, so I think we're on the way to recovery.
Right, absolutely. So, but we've got a lot to talk about with budget season around the corner. Everybody's kind of put their budgets
Yep.
together and looking ahead. And what a great opportunity to talk about you guys because you guys, along with Fire here, you're seeing some expansion of the city. Got a new station coming in. I mean, everything's happening in Fitzrona.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we're kind of the hot topic on the budget this year. I'm sure that changes every year. But the expansion of the Fitzrona district, and this has been going on for a long time. This
Absolutely.
has been part of that 5-10 year project. Did some digging, and the last time we actually added an ambulance to our service, the best we could come up with was 2004.
Really.
So we've been working with our two ambulances, that Fitzrona district, like the fire service, which both municipalities have their own fire service. So we service both Fitchburg and Verona in the Verona Township. So we just continue to grow. And I don't want to say it's off the chart growth, but something we've been looking at over the last 5 to 10 years if we knew we were going to get to this point. So last year we actually crossed over that 3,000 calls for service.
Wow.
We historically went back, actually we were able to pull 40 years worth of data and kind of do an average, and 40 years worth of data actually says we have an 8% growth over the last 40 years. Traditionally that works down to really about 5%, but it's hit or miss, and when we estimate it, we really go with only 3. Even with a 3% growth, we hit 3,000 calls last year.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I worked on an EMS service, and we got over 1,000 or something, which is a lot for what was a volunteer district. But 3,000 is
That's getting up there and starting to stretch the limits of what two ambulances can do. So that's actually 3,000 calls our two ambulances did. That doesn't even count numbers from last year. We lost about 200 calls to our neighboring services. That's the city of Madison, the town of Madison, Mount Hora, Belleville, all coming into Fitchburg, Verona Township because we didn't have an ambulance available to send.
and it's not a laughing matter. I shouldn't be laughing here. It's just an amazing amount of activity. When does your staff have a rest period?
I'm sure, so it's like anything. You put emergency on it, it's completely unpredictable. It's rare for, we say to get skunked. We would hope we'd put ourselves out of service because if we're going somewhere, somebody's having a really bad day. But it could be, that average, we average about 7 to 8 calls a day, then that gets us to that number. But truly, that is an average. So that is a 0 call day or a 1 or 2 call day and a 17 or 20 call day.
And that's where you pull car 15, as we learned in previous episodes
Yes.
that you guys have been on.
And already, actually, today's one of those days. I've been out 2 times this morning, and we've actually had somebody else come in, and it's early in the morning, so it's just one of those hit or miss days. Of today's going to be one of those busy days.
Yeah, with the expansion too of town of Madison, and the reason that we're getting a station kind of further over that direction. What do you expect here as things move forward? Are we thinking 8% growth, and we're just like, how do you even? I don't even know how you take that.
Sure,
and
it's
and
tough. As we said, emergencies are emergencies. It's pretty hard to predict. So we kind of have to look at that historical data, and it's been something we've been looking at for 5 to 10 years. Fitchburg has spent the money on the studies to go, where do these stations need to be based on that future growth? And for years now, we have known that essentially the northeast corner of our district, we call it essentially the Fish Hatchery Road corridor, up by Post Road, Greenway Cross, that is about as far away with a fairly denser population that we need to be serving. Now, truly, the farthest corner of our district is down in Oak Hill by Oregon, but the density of the population is not there. So we knew where station number 3 needed to be, and that's that Saline and West Clayton Road that currently is a basement, and hopefully we'll be building up here pretty quick. But so the plan next year, or at least in our budget, and it sounds like the mayor has committed to providing that, is actually to put a third ambulance and 7 brand new paramedics into that third ambulance in that northeast corner. The anticipation then for Fitchburg is to, one, reduce the response times, estimating we're probably going to be about a minute or so less response time, so getting there to a scene a minute faster to that upper corridor. And then, as you had mentioned, the town of Madison. So that was truly pretty far from our next closest ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Marketplace station where we moved to just about a year ago now, has a pretty significant difference. Pulling numbers from the town of Madison using last year's number was roughly just under about 400 calls for just the little part of the town of Madison that will most likely come into Fitchburg in I believe it's 2022, 2023, yes. somewhere in there, which is still what we said 5 years off or 4 years off. But as the town of Madison that's last year's numbers. So straight out of the gate from in 1 year, we're going to add about 400 calls to our own service. Plus, we mentioned about another 100 of those calls that the town of Madison had to come into Fitchburg. So we're going to be going, another 400, 500 calls there in a year as soon as we open that station up. Hopefully, the plan currently is June 1 of next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And is long term, like, do you just add more? I mean, hard for you to predict or anybody to predict, but do we save those stations and then put 2 ambulances in operation? Like, is that the
you ask good questions. Of course, that's what my job is, to sit at my desk and play with Excel spreadsheets frequently for the day.
You should talk to Misty Dodge about that. She loves spreadsheets.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
She's even better than I am. She's got some pretty impressive ones. The plus side, that station up here helps reduce response time to Fitchburg. Being a district, we always kind of go, how does Verona benefit from this? This absolutely benefits Verona, because if our Fitchburg ambulance is out, the Verona ambulance is coming into Fitchburg. So by putting an ambulance up in Fitchburg, it actually keeps Verona's ambulance in Verona. So yeah, the next question is, where does ambulance number 4 come in? We've taken that estimated 500 calls from the town of Verona, town of Madison. We put them in that little spreadsheet for 2023 and said at a conservative 3% growth. Actually, in 2023, the Excel spreadsheet says we actually hit 4,000 calls in about 5 years from now. That begs that question: when do we put in ambulance number 4?
Well, the good thing is with the new state, with all 3 stations, the Verona one as well, you do have space where you have enough that you can keep 2, so it's not like we're going to be necessarily building a building to has additional ambulance. You've got some space at least to grow vehicle wise. I don't know about personnel on how those go, but yep. That kind of plays it out. Either way, great numbers that sharing with us. Thank you. Kind of gives you that perspective of, oh man, you guys are never going to rest.
It's going to keep growing.
I don't know. You might want to get more of those spongy ambulances for the staff to keep them.
A little stress control.
Just a few, or take them to a water park or something.
Yep.
Cheer them
more
up.
Swag.
All right, that is your EMS chief director. However, I know it's chief.
Either works. I answer.
He's a guy right there. Either way, stop in and say hello to all of the staff there. Very helpful, very friendly, and thank you guys, and stay safe out there.
Thank you. Have a great day.
We're going to take a quick break, wrap up the show next. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.